Hi, Michelle. So just a quick video to talk through the couple of emails. So what the group and the date that we're adding into the production of the group 2 surveys, we will need to add that, or we will need to add the date into that, but we'll get to that in 1 second. But what we need to do is we need to actually add this into our first surveys as well to make sure that this will be recorded when people come in and take the survey and are added to the contact list, so that we can then trigger, we need to use that to trigger the one in development now at this time. So we need that recorded right now. It's no point in recording it in the second survey because we need it to send out the second survey. So for the people who have already taken the survey, it's not such a big deal. We can just make sure that we send it to those people. After the 2 months is up, it'll be a little bit more manual, but that's fine. But let's make it a little bit more automated right now. So in the first survey or in the second survey, this is the outcome. So this is where they get grouped into whatever group they're going to be in. So if we have a look here, or actually that's not the one that they get grouped into, my apologies. So if we go to the survey that they get grouped into a group 4, I think this is the, oh no, sorry, I was in part, so I need to go into part 2. Okay, so I found it, my apologies, it's in the part 3, that's great. So what we want to do in here is we first want to capture the current date. So we would go ahead and do that here. So we would add our new field, we would call this date, for example, we would set the value and we would pipe in the value, which is the current date and time, and we want it in the year, month, day format. So it would be this format right here. That is recording the date that they've taken the survey, because this survey, they just go straight through it. So that's perfect. And then we can then use this in our sample to send it out to people after 2 months. So that's how to organize date in here. But then we also want to assign group in here as well, which will be really, really simple. So to do this, we're going to first of all add in a new branch here. So if we click add below, basically we're not going to really alter it too much, but if we click add below, actually it's adding it, I just realized it's adding it the whole way down right at the bottom, so ignore that. So what we want to do instead is we want to add a element, so if I click add below here, there we are, and use a branch. Basically, we're just going to move this into here. We're going to put our end of survey element into that branch so that it's still not altering the likability of getting it. They're still getting either the end of survey element or a branch to give them one of the codes. But the reason we're putting it into a branch is so that we can actually give them another embedded data in here as well. So if we click on add new element here, embedded data, and you can call this group. And then for the value, you can say control, for example, and then just make sure that's moved up above the end of survey element. Then for the trigger, or for the branch, again, the same as down here. We're just going to make sure that this is going to be the condition that can always be met, so you can do the exact same thing. So if 1 is equal to 1. So we are still making sure that they only are assigned to either the control group or the headspace group, but we're just putting this into a branch so we can give them an embedded data along with the end of survey element, so we can capture which group they're in. To capture the group then in this one, you can just go ahead and add a new element there and move this, and then do embedded data group is equal to whatever the other group name. So I'm just going to call it headspace for now, but obviously I don't think that's the correct one. And then we just move this down into this branch so that they get assigned that group, and then they get assigned one of the values before eventually hitting the end of survey element. So there are the 2 changes in here, just to add in the date and to add in the group that they're being assigned to. Then what you can do, I'm just not going to save that, is go back into your triggers, your contact list triggers, and in your contact list triggers, just make sure that those 2 new embedded data that we added, just add the fields and say embedded data and call it, say, date that's to be recorded in the contact list is the embedded data date, and the group to be recorded in the contact list, embedded data, is group. So now we have stored this in the contact list, so when people take the unique link moving forward, we can automatically control, or we can automatically see these as well as the recipient email without having to append them onto the link each time. Just saves a lot of hassle. And then also use this and this, both of these, for our sample if we need to later on. So they're the changes to make to the current one that's currently live. Like I say, for the people who are already recorded, that there's not much we can do about those, but it will be really simple because we know that they've been gathered before these people. So just keep an eye on the dates that the responses were recorded, and then just create a sample that just says if group or date that we're just recording for the new people, if that's empty, because they're the people who didn't get assigned it from before. Then moving on to the next question. So triggering 2 months, that's how we would do that basically. And then you just do that from between your second group of surveys to the third as well. Like we would just record the data in the last part of your second group of surveys, so you have a new fresh date of when they actually took the second group of surveys, and then we can do our sample based off of that as well. You might want to call it date survey 2 or something like that, so you can tell the difference between when they took the first one and the second one, in case that leads to issues with your samples moving forward. So that's it for the first question. The next thing then is group and date contact triggers. So basically everything that is already recorded in the contact list, we will not need to record again, or we won't need to capture it again. All you need to do in future surveys moving forward is, I'm just going to go with the development ones. I think it's this one. No, they're not the ones. Let's see. This one? Yep, that's the one. Okay, perfect. So yeah, and these ones then, all you would need to do is, if we click in here and click into survey flow, we don't need to record recipient email because that's already recorded for us. We will need to add in group because that's the that will pull directly from the panel, so that will just pull into our data. We don't need to set a value for it. And then the date, you're correct, we'll need to put in the current date, year, month, day, but maybe we'll move that down towards the bottom of the survey so that's assigned right at the end once they actually finish the survey, so that we know, because this might be assigned right at the very beginning, and if they don't fully finish the survey, then that might lead to an issue. So we'll just move this right down the bottom. Now your second issue then was about the custom value, and as you can see in your values, you actually have the words custom value in here. So if you need to remove those, just delete that and leave that saved with just the value there. And then the same as this one, you have custom value wrote into all of them, so we just need to remove that, and there it is again. So anywhere that you're seeing a custom value in your triggers and in your end of survey elements and everywhere, have a look at the value that's assigned for that embedded data, because more than like custom value is just wrote in there. So just remove all of those, and that should fix the issue. So go ahead and make those couple of changes, and let me know once you've done those and if you have any more questions on it. Also then when you test this out, you should now see that the custom value has been removed once you actually remove that. So I think that's it for the questions at the moment, but obviously we'll need to just continue working on the setup for the second group of surveys after we make these changes.